Here we are at the Lightworks, where all the magic is created for Star Trek Phase 2 by Tobias Richter and his team.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
And we're in Cologne, Germany, not the United States. I have to say that.
Originally you want just 100 or so drilled in because it's fiber optics in each of those. And then in the end, I think you will never do this model again.
This incredible model. So you originally used models in your films? And
No, that's just hobby.
Just for hobby?
Just fun.
Okay, so you always did CGI?
Yeah.
It's incredible models.
Look at the detail on the Enterprise E. Every little Aztec tile is there.
That's one of them which I have built up. Or I didn't build up. I did build up those almost, all of them down the back. But these expensive tiles. Yeah, that's so-called studio size. So it's about the size they use when they film new stuff.
The old Galactica shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
Some incredible models. Very impressive. This is just your hobby?
Yeah. If I find the time. At the moment.
Botanical gardens.
Yeah. He's a sucker for detail.
Well, I guess so.
Like I am, so.
See it? Well, the botanical gardens are even there. There's plants.
It's plants? What, in the ship?
Yeah, it's the either the rec deck or whatever the botanical garden they call it. Look.
Wow. Actually, just zoom straight in. Amazing! Look at that. There are gardens in the inside the ship. It's amazing. You can really see it through the camera lens.
Wow. Okay, now get down to business. Where's this new shot I haven't seen?
Do you want something to drink?
And you have Elvis. I love you even more.
Yeah, a few years back we did a game.
Really?
Walk dancing Elvis. So.
My God, he even has 7 of 9 standing in here. You have 7 of 9 standing in here.
Yeah, that was a payment for one of our jobs. They didn't have the money, so.
So they gave you 7 and 9 instead.
So I took her.
Keeps bothering the guy who sits over there. So they keep switching chairs.
Freaks him out a little bit when he turns around.
Yeah. So switch yourself.
So they gave you Jerry Ryan for a job?
That's a good trade-off.
Not the real Jerry Ryan.
The job would have had to be bigger for that.
Yeah.
I have a great Jerry Ryan story.
Okay, share it.
Flew to California. We were working on things for Phase 2.
Get some chairs from
I
over.
always go to Bob's Big Boy restaurant in Burbank. It's this drive-in restaurant a few blocks from NBC Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting in the booth talking. And the gentleman I was talking to kind of glanced over to the booth across from us like that. I said, James. He said, I don't know what this means, but it's got to be something really, really cool. And I'm like, what? He says, look over your left shoulder. So I went like that. And here's Jerry Ryan sitting in the booth across from us with her son. So I thought, wow, 7 of 9 is here. So I got up and I went over to introduce myself. And as I went to introduce myself, her son goes, I watch you on the internet. So that's how we got introduced to Jerry Ryan.
Yeah.
Her son already knew who we were, and
Yeah, cool.
we were doing Blood and Fire. We were planning Blood and Fire. And so she signed one of the pages in the script in the restaurant that day. So that's my Jerry Ryan story.
That's cool.
And she does look that good in person.
Well, she's been to FedCon. We've
Yeah.
seen
Oh,
her.
has she? Yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And she looked that good.
Yeah.
She does. She looked very good, yeah.
Yes.
It's a little bit similar to a shot I sent you before.
Look at that.
So that's the one Klingon shoots to the Enterprise, but hits the other.
No, that's on the. You put that on my stick.
Yeah, but that's not.
It's not totally finished.
It's not totally finished, as you can see. The shots go through and some touch-up to do, but not that much. Should be okay for
It looks
editing.
so real.
Thank you. I have a couple of more which are not, by far not finished. It's just, this is where I start. Just
Right.
the main model, and then I fill up the background.
The background.
So these are just, they're so much fun to do these flybys with these ships.
It's irresistible, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you get a camera in that close and see
Yeah.
all this detail and this beauty.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's also just the main model. Probably have the Enterprise in the background rushing through or something like that.
Wow.
That's one more
Come along here.
with the fleet, which will be inserted
I also
in the back.
love the fact that you have the TOS colored stars.
Yeah, that's. I have them two-layered, one with a basic layer and one with just the colored stars, so I can exchange them very easily.
That's beautiful. Now this is the is this the Darren Doctorman model?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I just did a few slight alterations, not really much. I mean, it hasn't any interior decoration, but
Don't need it.
yeah.
Wow. I love to see how it all comes together. I've never actually seen this before, so
Okay. I can show you how it. Let's see if I have that here. How compositing of such a shot looks like. Let's see if we have the. Take this one. That's all the
these are the elements.
elements. That's
Look at that.
stars. That's particle for the explosion. That's the Klingon shot where the
Right.
Klingon shots
Yep.
get hit. Some particles for the stuff that's
Look at that.
gets hit. And so it builds up. Glow elements. That's the explosion itself. It's a rather short one. We have a library of explosions that we regularly use. And we have additional. Yeah, we'll
What
call
is that?
it
The Enterprise?
The Enterprise.
Just pops right in.
That's the lights of the Enterprise, which blink. They are separate paths. We have the interior, hard to see in the shot, but it's there. And yeah, of course, all the shots that are fired.
I'll tell you, we've been told time and time again that we have one of the best models of the Enterprise there is.
Yeah, it's pretty okay.
It's pretty okay.
Pretty okay. Understatement.
Why don't you fix it then if it's pretty okay?
Yeah, well, fixing probably takes longer than rebuilding.
And rebuilding.
Yeah, and so it all comes together in the end, frame by frame. And the beam and shot for the Kronos, it's, I'd say, 3 times as big,
My God.
because there are so many layers. And the enemy, well, let's see if you have that. The shot for enemy Starfleet,
The opening.
the opening stuff, because I had to do it all in one scene.
That had to be massive.
It's yeah. I think that did it in another program, so I can't show it to you now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's the E. It's the Enterprise. As I said, I rebuilt the interior
Mm-hmm.
to have a little bit more going on.
Something in every window.
Yeah, it's all something different. I mean, Darren had also put in
Yeah.
internal stuff, but it was technically a little bit different to what I usually do, so I decided to.
So you just augmented it.
Yeah, we did it.
That's crazy. Can you go right in the bridge and see the bridge?
No, not here,
No.
but I can show the new Enterprise.
Oh, with the window?
Yeah.
Which you've seen on set.
Yeah.
That's the new version based on the ILM model.
That's so ugly.
You see the phaser banks.
Yeah.
These are, I think they are real phaser banks.
God, the detail which goes into that.
Here's the bridge. It takes a while to load the textures. But it doesn't correspond. I mean,
Right.
on the outside, this is exactly how the ILM looks. The ILM model looks, and this doesn't match up with the set.
Well, the set doesn't match up with the
Yeah.
outside of the ship
Yeah.
anyway. I
Yeah.
told you about the corridor.
Yeah. As you can see, there's a bridge inside. Even some guy sitting there.
Shit.
And they had some really insane detail. I'm going to switch off the textures because it slowed it down. Like for instance here on the torpedo launchers. Nobody would ever see it. And that's probably 1/10 of the detail that I had on the ILM model.
My God.
Mm.
Totally insane. Even on the back on the hangar deck.
Well, I suppose if it's a movie, you need a lot of detail, but
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
When it's moving along at warp speed, you're not going to see it.
Well, it's probably the most detailed model I've built so far.
So when are you going to do the shot where it blows up?
Okay. Can't blow that up.
Please, just one quick shot.
Yeah. Do you know how much work it is to blow this?
Yeah, but it's not like the model's really gone.
Not?
It's just a shot,
So.
right?
Okay.
The model doesn't get destroyed when you do that.
No, not really. And some quarters as well.
You will be so famous when we put that out. It'd be like the real Enterprise destroyed that thing. Yes.
Maybe.
Well, please, we have to do it. They're gonna hang me from the artist's arm if we don't do it. I made my whole crew. They were like, "Okay, we're gonna do this." Spock acted out his little thing. We have to do it. It's 10 seconds. 3 seconds. Okay, can we make a 3-second shot?
Yeah, if it's 3 or 10 seconds, that's no
No
difference.
difference. All I want to see is this thing just, it can even just sit there. Just to have the real Enterprise come out and shoot it.
photon torpedo.
just blow it to hell so Spock can look at me and go, timeline restored, Captain.
Yeah, maybe.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
It'll be a lot of fun.
And a lot of applause.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, it's standing ovation. There'll be so many people that'll just be so happy. There's so many fun things on the internet like that, so many parodies that they've done with.
That's from the other show that we're doing, the science fiction movie. And I wanted to show you, because we did some clowns for Buck Rogers.
Oh, okay.
And it's a dogfight,
Yep.
probably.
Yep.
So this should fit in pretty well.
Oh,
It's just the opening shot of that sequence. So I think that could fit in quite well. Some
Yeah, with some. Do you
planes
have any
coming.
biplane models? Do you have?
No,
any?
but that's no problem.
Now, would you build those or?
Either build them or buy them.
buy
I
them.
mean, there's such a huge library.
Why don't I send you the script pages and you can kind of look at them?
Yeah, sure.
You know, we'll maybe
Do
do
that.
a couple. I'm hoping that we can just get a couple of shots into it and. Yeah, because,
I mean, you have to.
yeah,
If you want to sell it, you have to.
that's what I mean.
Some bang.
We got to get some bang into
Yeah.
it. So. It's only going to help the two of us if we can sell this thing.
Yeah. And we did some. Let's see what we have here.
You've seen the rocket footage that he did?
Yeah, oh yes, yeah, very impressive.
I don't know if you saw it, but the numbers on YouTube of that thing are just insane.
Yeah.
It was over 100,000 views in 24 hours
Wow.
Oh, that's incredible.
of just the rocket ship clip.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Trek movie link worked pretty well.
Very well. Yeah, if it's one thing I know how to do, it's turn the media buzz onto something. It doesn't take much when you know half the fan groups that are out there and how to spread the word. Like we went to Harry Knowles at Ain't It Cool News, and once it hit there,
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I don't even like the site because there's so many. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't like the people that frequent the site because
Yeah, the comments you can't read.
it's they're terrible. It's like these people have no life, so they sit there and criticize other people. But the only thing is that website is good for getting the word out. And if you can get on there, it's gold. Yeah, when we did the second clip and we put out the thing with Aaron and Gillen at the clip, and then people going, well, are they even in the same room because it was shot this? And I was like, yes,
That's exactly what I said to you.
they're in the
So
same.
you look.
It was a very small room, about half the size of your,
Yeah. But
And the
there's
director-
a total missing.
yeah,
And we see all the three together.
and that's the way he wanted to shoot it. But there's 15 other things in the episode where they're all together. But for some reason, because it was so close in there, I think he just wanted to shoot it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm not aware of any other footage that he did it any other way. So
Huh. But do you still have access to that house?
mm-hmm. I don't right now because there's somebody else shooting in there. But I mean, I can go back.
Yeah.
The other thing is like when we do some of the World War I stuff on the ground. I have my pyro guy is going to put the bullet hits in.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to generate any of that kind of stuff. That'll all be real. I mean, the actor will run through and they'll shoot around him on the ground and blow up and all that kind of stuff because he's a real stickler. He doesn't like fake pyro. He says if I can't do it for real, we shouldn't be doing it. So
Normally it looks better.
Yeah. So he'll be doing all of that. So we won't worry about any of that. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else weird. I know there's a scene with planes shooting at a Zeppelin, a dirigible, or whatever they call it. I don't know.
Okay.
There's
Now the tricky parts comes out.
well, it's yeah. I mean, that's one scene, and I can't remember too much about it because I haven't read it in forever. It seems like I probably haven't read that script now in 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
But he supposedly goes on a mission, and they're going to shoot the Zeppelin, and he gets shot. His plane gets shot down and crashes, and he survives the crash.
Yeah.
But he gets sent home, and that's where we go into the footage with the parents and all. You know, he has the flash because he's unconscious, so we have these flashbacks.
You plan to film that?
I'd like to, yeah.
How do you plan to do that?
Well, anything of him in the plane, we have the cockpit. A guy already built that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I would imagine we'll shoot that against the green screen, and if we have to add anything to the plane, we would just rely on the digital model to.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's the simplest way to do it.
Of course.
But I know that everything from the windshield back is to behind the seat where he sits is real, and I think he might even have the machine gun in front of him.
Yeah.
That much will be real. That I know.
Well, let me do the Starship stuff first, and then the set extension, and then
The troublesome stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe if Tony likes.
Yeah, I mean, he could look
Right.
at it too. I'm not too certain. Simple thing, like a view screen with no obstruction, he can handle. Can he handle Aretha Franklin's hair in front of a? I don't know.
Has he done green screen work before?
Some, I think, but I don't know if he's done it with somebody, like standing. I don't know. I haven't really talked to him.
Well, just ask him and.
He does all the transporter effects. He
Yeah.
does all that stuff, and does it quite well. I think.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I think they're great. He's done some digital cleanup, like if you see something wrong on maybe somebody left a pin in a costume, so he's gone in and done that kind of removal.
Yeah. I saw one clip. The episode with Sulu at the start. You're on the bridge of the Excelsior,
Yep.
and I think somebody touched up Janice Rand.
Digital makeup.
Quite well.
Digital makeup they did on her.
Yeah.
Was one shot where they gave her a whole new body.
Yeah.
We filmed
That
it.
was really, really good.
Yeah, that was a kid from the Dave School.
Yeah. Excellent work.
Yeah, it had to be done. I wasn't there when they filmed it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice it when I saw the episode, but when I saw how he's done it, and I said, okay, he had to do that.
I wasn't there. They shot that in California, and I was promised by the director, I have everything taken care of. It's going to look great. You're not going to have any worries. 2 people called me from the set and said, you are going to cry. If you were here, you wouldn't let them film. They emailed me pictures, and I just wanted to hide. They borrowed the wardrobe from, fans, and it was just, horrible costumes. And they were baggy, and no two were the same color. And I thought, what am I going to do? And the captain's chair was this blocky wooden thing with a turquoise covering on it, and the only thing they did well was the back wall of the Excelsior when they built the wooden wall, and the graphic was the original graphic that was from the collection of one of our friends.
Yeah.
And so that all looked good.
Yeah, it looked terrific.
But when we got it, they literally spent way more time on it than should have ever. They fixed George Takei's chair while he was sitting in it. They had to go in and, CGI it, fix it. And they added the con and ops panels because they weren't there.
Okay.
They completely... I don't know what Grace was thinking or who did her makeup, but they did this horrible, heavy, black, Gloria Swanson 1920s... look, and and her costume was so baggy, Tobias, it looked like her chest was in her lap.
Yeah, I saw the footage. Yeah.
So I made them went in the fairly close shots. I had him do a boob job, lift her, and clean up her makeup, and give her a hot oil treatment to her hair, and get rid of the frizzies that were there.
Yeah.
I mean, the hours of work they spent. But
I
I said, this is one of our heroes. This is one of our original TV legends, and I can't, in good conscience, let this go out the door. So they spent a lot of time.
That's time well spent.
Yeah, it had to be done. Oh, it was embarrassing. I wish that I could get those guys again and wardrobe them the right way and reshoot that sequence, because I still look at that and cringe every time I see it.
I think that's one of the best sequences.
Well, it looks better now.
Yeah, it's perfect now.
When I get to New York, I'll email you the rough cut before they did anything. You would go, they're geniuses. You go, they are geniuses, because it's frightening. I think my favorite shot in the whole episode is the end when Sulu's looking out the window, and then he talks to his daughter, and then at the end of the story they go right out the window, and then the of the Excelsior as she pulls away, the last shot.
Don't have that in mind. I mean, the more you get to know you, the more people know that it's for free.
Yeah.
Nobody will bother buying this stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's the idea. If we could just let the world know that, they can have the DVDs, then that would make life a lot easier. So that was part of the idea. I just am waiting for I didn't have the high-def masters for World Enough in Time. So I've got that coming, finally, from California.
Do you have all the old episodes?
All of them, yeah. Again, I am having problems with To Serve All My Days. They went back and they did the 1969 version, and I don't know the story, but when we played it, it would go from the live action to the new effects. There was a shuddering that was happening. We don't know if there was a frame rate difference when they rendered the effects or whatever. So, and the guy that has the timeline, I've been trying to get in touch with him because I want to get that corrected and fixed. And then there's a couple of scenes that it was on the old turbolift set, and there was no ceiling in the turbolift. So when the door opens, you can kind of see that it just kind of dead stops. So I need to get those plates and get a ceiling of some kind to put in the because it's glaring when the door opens. It's like that's always bugged me. But if I can get that one cleaned up, I would go from there on, because those were the ones that were always shot, better and with the right equipment. In Harm's Way, I wouldn't bother with. The pilot, I don't even have a copy of myself. It's just horrible. So
it's actually not bad. I mean, I've looked at the pilot, and
there's no story, and it was such a chore to shoot it, and I was doing 15 jobs, and we only had like 20 people on that whole episode.
Yeah,
we were really maxed. Everybody was doing so many different things, just trying to make it happen. The only good thing I tell people that came out of it is that it proved we could do it.
That's right.
Then we had to focus on how to do it right and get more people
involved. But only yesterday I had someone saying that they really liked the pilot.
Well, they must be really deranged.
I'll
call a spade, and I think the pilot is bad. It's just really bad.
Compared to other fan movies, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, you got to compare it. I mean, sure, compared to your latest episodes, the pilot is rubbish.
Yeah.
But compare it to what a lot of other fans are doing, it's still fantastic.
Yeah. I suppose if you put it in that kind of context, I get it.
Yeah.
But I know the feeling. If I watch the stuff I did 10 years ago, I can't watch it anymore.
Yeah, it's just like, no.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Especially when you know that you have the potential to do so much better, and you've grown, and you look at what
I couldn't do it better back then.
Yeah, but now it's
second
nature. Yeah, it's like me after once we got past a certain point, to try to even go back to what that was. I can't even fathom what that would be.
But that is natural progression, isn't it, into technology?
Yeah. Plus, I think if you're not always pushing yourself, to be better next time, it's kind of a waste of time. I think you have to try to keep climbing the hill.
For yourself and also for your job.
Yeah.
The other guys are always behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, my niece Tara has been learning this kind of video editing stuff. So, are there any questions you might have?
I don't really know anything about effects or anything, so I don't really have any questions. I don't know anything about that.
Are you like a rough cut editor? You build the timeline?
No, I don't do actually editing at all. I production coordinate.
Oh, okay.
For my student films and stuff.
Okay. See, that's completely different than editing.
Yeah, I have my dad got me editing software, and like I did it for my first couple films that we had to make, but I'm not that interested.
Yeah, it's editing is really fascinating.
Yeah,
and it's you learn really quickly about composition and all this kind of thing, and you really
have to learn.
Yes, you do.
Because you will mess up a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I have learned a lot as a producer.
Yeah.
Watching a rough cut, and a lot of people on my team hate me when I look at a rough cut because they tell me that this is just the first assemblies, but I look at it, I'm like, well, his arms are down, they're up, he does this twice. They're like, we know, we haven't trimmed it yet, we haven't put the filler in it yet. I'm like, okay, then why are you sending it to me? Because I'm going to see, my eye is going to go to what's wrong before it goes to what's right, and that bugs people.
Mm-hmm.
It was like David Gerald, whose arms moved when he was lying there dead on the bridge.
Yeah. You have to watch everything like a hawk and look at each shot 25 times.
Do you have a continuity?
It's
like that?
we do. Kutsumba was a problem. We had somebody and they weren't there the whole time, and I don't know what was going on with my guy that plays Dr. McCoy, because he's normally very good. I mean, he does the same thing over and over again. Yeah. But what I think happened is that the guy that's doing the rough cut, I can tell you one instance why things change. He put the scene together, and he didn't have a close reaction shot of the character. So he went to a point later in the story and pulled a reaction shot from that point, figuring he could drop it in. But he couldn't because McCoy's arms went from like this to like this, and you can't do that,
or you have to intercut it with something else.
Yeah, and he was pulling his hair out because I was like, dude, you did it not once but like 3 times. So we've got to fix this now, because the further you get into this stuff is going to fall further back in your memory, and then it's going to be more difficult to go back and adjust the timeline. And I haven't been able to get him to go back and adjust these things yet. He just keeps building. I'm like, stop. Fix these things. We have to do this now. This is one of the things I was telling you about. There's somebody, when I posted it online, they picked up on it. There's a shot of Chekhov, and Chekhov is saying his line, and it's some, nondescript, 40,000 kilometers, Captain. And the Klingon, at that moment, is not supposed to be standing behind him. The Klingon is supposed to be up behind Spock. But what people don't realize is that to save time and money, if we had 6 lines with Chekhov, we shot them all the same. We didn't move anybody.
Okay.
Because we knew when we put that scene together that at least 1 or 2 occasions you're going to hear Chekhov and you're not going to see him. So we've got the audio. So when he says this 40,000 kilometers, you're going to see the view screen and the cloaked ship. So it won't matter who's behind him. It's just an audio marker. But we put it out in the audience. It's like, oh, well, this moves and this guy moves. I'm like, it's an audio marker. But they don't understand that, which is why I love sharing rough cut stuff, but I don't, because these people are eagle eyes, man. They will tear you apart.
Yeah, you probably should only release stuff that is official.
Yeah, that is done.
Or put a big marker in the picture, not final.
Not final, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But you really, these are things, like I said, when you really have to develop an eye for continuity and what was the other word I was looking for? Anyway, you get the idea. There's a visual connection, shot to shot, in composition that you really. We have a fairly close up of him, of Zahn at the navigator station, and behind him you can see the character of DeSalle, and in the close, which starts the shot, he delivers his line, but as he's delivering his line, DeSalle hears him, and he does this on the back of his chair to look at the view screen. You can see DeSalle make the move in the close. Then he cut to the wide, and in the wide he does the same movement, because he didn't trim the wide, the first so many frames off the wide, so that DeSalle was already in this position, because it's just an establishing shot, of everybody and what they're looking at on the view screen. So if you see him do this position in the wide, make the move, or in the close, then in the wide he'd better be in that position. because he somehow isn't going to go.
But I can understand the editor that he just want to block out the stuff and do such things at a later date.
Yeah, I mean that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
I think for his style or his how he works, this is a quicker way of getting the job done for him. I think he just builds the entire timeline and then he goes back and revisits each scene.
I mean, you have to. The problem is if you do it like you say, that you go on a strict course and make it perfect from the very first start, and later on you see, oh, we are 5 minutes too long or too short, then it's all the more work to trim that down.
Yeah.
If you're in that stage, it's much easier.
I've got to the point now where they'll send me a scene, and if they've done crazy shit like that, I drop it into just like a Windows timeline, a Movie Maker timeline, because I don't need anything of high quality.
Yeah.
And I go in and I go snip, 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 put it back together, and I send it to them and say, "This is what I want," and then they match my shot. If that gets the job done, then that's what we do.
So your editor is in New York? Or
Right now he's in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm in New York, so a lot of files go back and forth.
Oh yeah. That's a pretty hefty
Very
service.
productive when I can get out there and sit with them. We get a lot accomplished in a hurry, and there's a lot of people that make shows that the editor or the director has final cut, and they put it together, and the producer doesn't really have anything to do with that part of it. But I'm not like that. I have to be beginning to end. I have to make sure.
I give up that as well.
Yeah, I can't. I did it once. I told you I gave it up once, and I regretted it because the scene that was cut I felt was very important to the characters. And when I saw it in the episode, I thought, see, it makes complete sense. But everybody feels things differently, and the director had some shots that, the scene with Uhura talking to George Takei in the sick bay. This quick, don't let it all slip away moment. And that was pointless. Didn't move the story forward. It was done more or less to give the Uhura actress something to do, and I respect and I understand that. But if doing that cuts out this very important, emotional moment for 4 of the main players of the story, it's not worth having that scene still.
Do you always plan to have the episodes exactly the same length?
No. I mean, if they run over, if it's 65 minutes or whatever, I'm fine with that. Or 70, I'm fine with that. Normally, the original Star Trek was 53 minutes without commercials, and then Next Generation was like 42 or 43 minutes, so like 10 minutes shorter.
Because you have much more advertising now.
Yeah. So I like to go to the 53-minute mark if we can and try to keep it like the original show. But if we can't and it goes over, I think Blood and Fire Part 2 wasn't that over? Maybe Part 1 was a little short and Part 2 was over.
I think it could have been, yeah.
I don't remember.
I mean, I cut them together into one movie.
Did you? Took out the second credit break and all that?
That's right, yeah, I did it together to one movie. The only thing you see now is now the conclusion sort of comment and a couple of additional titles. And that's very popular. It's one of the most downloaded files on my server.
Well, that's because they can see it all together.
That's right, yeah.
It makes sense, yeah. It was tough because we put in a lot of long hours shooting that. We did 112 pages in 14 days.
That's a lot.
And I'm very proud of that episode. And I loved the fact that it was a 2-parter. Because of the way we could release it and keep people on the edge of their seat, hopefully, and they'd want
just the time between was a little bit too long.
Yeah, well, again, I had one guy doing visual effects. One guy.
I remember at the time,
and I love him to death. But my problem is he wouldn't commit to a timeline. I could never just say, can we just say June 12th, and work for that. He was like, no, we might not make that, so just let me do this. And,
Yeah, okay, if you have a daytime job,
it had to happen that way.
It can happen here as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what happens. There's things that are beyond your control, and if you want to get the job done, you work with the people you have, and you get it done. So, it was tough, but we got it out, and I think it's the most downloaded one to date.
Mm-hmm.
That 2-part.
It's the last one, so.
Well, I mean, I look at my server every month, what's being downloading, and And the number one episode for the last few months has always been Blood and Fire, the movie version.
Really? Yeah.
Well, the other mirrors don't offer a movie version at all. The others just give the MP4 files as individual acts. And people are fed up with that because they have to keep starting a new file every few minutes.
Right.
Whereas that's why I prefer the DivX, because you can have the whole program in one file. You just click and it'll run on your DVD player if it's a modern DVD player.
Yep.
That's why I always went for that format.
And as long as people are doing it and they're happy, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I know that people are chomping at the bit for Enemy Starfleet. I call it the episode from hell. We had so much difficulty during the initial shoot, and it's just trying to get it all together, get all the pieces together, and it's just been very difficult.
But it's very nice, a very good episode.
Yeah, and I'm glad, but again, it's so difficult. I mean, it's been the most difficult thing I've ever shot.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've seen it twice, and I still don't get the conclusion.
It's because it's not all there.
Oh, okay, that explains it.
Yeah, it's not all there. There's parts of the conversation with McCoy in the transporter room that aren't there, where they go to beam over.
Yeah, and all the effects, the black hole and everything.
They're not all there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's a sequence.
I thought my English or my
yeah.
is good enough.
No, there's a sequence that needs to be in there where, well, first of all, Spock is sitting in the captain's chair, and I'm fiddling with this computer thing over on Alursa's ship, and I call him and say, okay, get me the hell out of here now, beam us back now. Well, that dialogue where I'm talking to Spock isn't in there. You don't hear me say,
yeah, but I think
there's text there. Right, there's text there. And then Spock says, launch the warp buoy.
Yeah.
Okay? We're supposed to see the ship launch the buoy.
Yeah.
We don't have that shot. That's not there. Then you're supposed to see Spock say, Mr. Sulu, warp factor 1. And they go to warp.
Yeah.
Which creates the warp bubble. Which you're not seeing. You don't see them create, that when they jump to warp, there's supposed to be a bubble that's created around her ship. Then we're supposed to go back inside the Enterprise. And as the Enterprise hits the wormhole, you have that whole, you have this funny shot of people on the bridge that's digitally manipulated like they're in a wormhole.
Yeah.
Then we would see the view screen, we would see the wormhole effect, okay? Then we would cut to the Enterprise in the wormhole, which is, I think, in the print.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would cut back to me stumbling out onto the bridge, trying to get to my chair in an effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you would have that shot that's in there cut in half. Then we would go outside and we would finally see whatever happens with the warp bubble and the Enterprise coming out of the wormhole, trapping Alursa in her, so that's not there. And then Kirk relaxing in the chair.
The plan was to trap Alursa in some sort of
warp bubble. And it looks like in the episode that she blows up.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I find that confusing, to be honest. It does look like
because
she just
that's
get
not
killed.
the shot that belongs there. That's not a shot that even goes in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, hence the problem. So it's not your mind. It's
good.
It's not finished. Yeah. It literally has been the episode from hell. When we were shooting it, the water main to the studio burst, and they were literally digging in the parking lot trying to get us water. I was sick and taken to the hospital in the shoot.
Oh dear.
It was awful. It was just awful. And it was a struggle. We walked out with not even half of it shot, which has never happened before. And then we had 2 failed attempts to regroup everybody and do the pickups. And then finally, and that's because we were trying to tack the pickups onto, another shoot. And then that, for other shoot, would take more time and it would push the pickups back.
Hmm.
So then I finally realized what we had to do was pick time just for the pickups and nothing else. And schedule the pickups, film them, and that would get the job done. And that's finally what happened. But we still have a couple of little things that didn't work after shooting it. And then you go, it has to be done again. So we have a couple of very minor things that we'll pick up for my satisfaction. There's a couple of lines that Spock delivers that I don't like. And it's not that he gave a bad performance. He gave, in my opinion, the wrong performance. He should have a little more urgency in his delivery. And even though he's a Vulcan, he should have a little more sense of urgency about how he delivers the line, which isn't there. And then there was I guess 3 lines altogether of McCoy. You see in the transport room, it's an over the shoulder. You see McCoy's shoulder, and you see him inject Kirk, and you hear his voice, but you don't see his face. So I need the reversal of McCoy, so you see him say the lines.
Okay.
And then there's one line of dialogue where after the 2 Kirks beam out, he says, "To Kirks, God must be punishing me." And
Yeah, that's just text.
yeah, and the director just didn't ever shoot that. I don't think he liked it, and I love it. And I said, "That's McCoy. That's McCoy's sarcasm to the max, and that's going in there." So I had him put the marker in the timeline so that I would know that has to be planned and put on the calendar, and we grab it in June.
Lots of stuff to do in June.
It sounds like a lot, but the origin script I think is 62 pages, and I have 14 days. So it's really, and it's a bottle show except for some Starfleet Academy stuff.